Hello friends, I am Sanket. Our today's topic is custom cell. So now first of all, what is custom cell? What's the difference between table view and the custom cell? So now in previous session we had discussed about the table view because it's a default table view, but now here today's in topic we will discuss about the table view cell. It means custom cell. So now let's see in practical basics. I am creating new Ekeeda projects at the single view application. Click on next, and now here write down your application name. So now here my application name is custom cell. Then click on next and create. Now before we implementing the custom cell, first see what is a custom cell. So now if you want to customize and add additional features on your table view cell, you might need to create a custom table view cell class. So now let's try to implement the custom cell. So now before we started, first I am designing my view. So I am changing my text background. So now whenever you use a table view cell, so now here you can see there are the two options, table view and table view cell. So now this table view, it means table view control, and the table view cell is for the custom cell. So now whenever you use the custom cell, before designing a custom cell, we have to require table view, because table view, it's a parent control of the custom cell. So now this is your parent control, and custom cell, it means this is the child control. So now always required for the custom cell, first I am designing my table view. So now you have to design as per your requirement. So now you can change the table cell and height first. Okay, now before we implementing the table view, so now always remember this thing. You have to implement your table view data source and delegates. It's a mandatory part for the implementing. So now here I am designing one table view, but table view, it's provided a default cell, but here I want a customized cell, okay, including some additional features on our table view cell. So now it's might need to create a custom cell. So now how to create a custom cell? So now there are the two options for creating a custom cell. You have to also, this option means this is the first option, using prototype cell. So now here you can use a prototype cell, it means 0 to 1. So now you can use this option for the custom cell. So now you have to design custom cell using this option, it means prototype cell. Now first is prototype cell, and second one is you have also used this control as a table view cell. So now simply just drag and drop table view cell on your table view. So now this is your custom cell. Now whenever you use a custom cell, so now first you have to send and identify the property of table view cell. Okay, so now let's see some important property of the custom cell, means table view cell. So now our first important property is identifier. Okay, so now whenever design any custom cell on the table view, it's must required your cell has given a unique identifier. So now here I am write down my cell identifier. So now here, for example, my identifier name is cell. Then after you can use a different property like a selection. So now you can see as a default, gray, blue and none. Okay, you have to use also as an accessory. So now in our previous table view session, okay, we had used as a programmatically accessory like a detail check mark, detail disclosure indicator, whatever you use as per your requirement. Okay, so now here let's try to design your custom cell first. So now here I am changing my cell height, okay, as per your requirement. So now for example, okay, Now you have to also change your cell height here using this option. So now here you can see right now your row height is 125. Now before you implementing your table view, first check your table cell height is also mentioned with your default table view height. Okay, so now first select your table view cell. So now you can see, so right now your table cell height is 125, but then after select your table view, wall table view, so now you can see the option row height. Okay, so now here mention your table cell height. Okay, for example here my table cell is height is 125, so my wall table view cell height is 125. It's mandatory to mention it. Now let's design first. So now here I am designing my cell. So first I am changing background color of my table cell. So now here I am using as a custom color, so I am using some dark gray. Now as per requirement you have to design any control on your table cell. For example, I want one image view, so now here I am designing one image view, and I set this image view in the left side of my cell. Okay, now I want one label, so now here I am designing one label. Okay, so now for example this is my label. Okay, now I want second label also, so now here I am using a second label. Now here you can see, so now there are three controls on your table cell. There are two label and one image view. Now let's try to set a different property of your label. So now I am using alignment. So now first label I am using as a heading. So now heading is always, it's a bold part. Now I am changing the font size. Now for my second label, again I am using as a alignment. Now for example both label I am using as a right alignment. And now for the second label, for the description type, so now description I am using as a light format, and now I am changing the text color as a white. Okay, so now this is the custom cell. Okay, you have to design your custom cell as per your requirement. So now you can see there are the three different controls on your custom cell, one image view, and there are two different labels. Now how to implement these labels and image view. So now whenever you use a custom cell, so now according to custom cell you have to create one class. So now if you want the custom cell, you have to use a create custom table view cell class. So now how to create it? So now simply go to your project folder, right click, so new file, and now I am using as a co-quarters class. So now if you want to create a table view cell class, so now here first you have to change a subclass as a UI table view cell. Okay, so now for the custom cell we have already there UI table view cell class, and now you have to mention your class name. So now here by default name is table view cell. Now as it is, now click on next and the create. Okay, so now this table view class is for this custom cell. Okay, so now how to assign it? So now simply, now let's go to assign your table view cell class. So now just select your cell, go to identity inspector, and here assign your table view cell class. So now your class name is the table view cell. It means these controls are as a mentioned object with this class. It means table view cell. Okay, so now whenever you create your objects of your control, it means outlet or action of your control, you have to use this class, means table view cell. Okay, so now here let's try to create objects of your control. So now here first here I am selecting your table cell, and now according to cell I have to choose my class, the table view cell. Okay, now one by one I am creating the different outlets. So now I am creating your label. So now first label for the heading. So now I am creating the object of lbl underscore head. Now for the second label I am creating label description. So this label for the description, and now I am using image. So now it's a image cell. So now whenever you use a custom cell, so now at that time you have to design any control on cell, then after you have to create your control objects in your custom cell class. Okay, now let's try to implement a table view. So now you have to design your cell, then after you have to implement now your table view. So now for the table view you have to mention first. So now same as a UI table view data source and UI table view delegates. Okay, so now here I am implementing the table view using custom cell. So now there are two required method. Okay, now this method is also used in our previous session. So now here I am implementing after. So now first I want some data on this image, this label and this description label. So now actually I want three different array. Okay, so now here I am creating for the heading. So now I am using one array as a heading array as a string. For the description I am creating another array, it's a description array. For the image I am creating one another array as a image array. Okay, so now here I am creating three different array, one for the heading, second for the description and third for the image. Okay, so now let's try to implement it one by one. So now here I am using, it's a heading array. So now let's try to create elements of your array. So now here my array elements like as iOS, Android, then after I am using Java, Python, Angular, Node, PHP, etc. Okay, for example this is my heading array. Now according to your heading you have to create your description array also. So now here I am creating a description array element. So now according to your heading I mentioned. So now iOS, it's for the Apple Inc. Now Android for the Google Inc. and the Java for the Sun Microsystem. Okay, now the Python, it's the secure language, and the Angular, it's the JavaScript framework, and the Node is also powerful JS, it means JavaScript framework. And now for the PHP, here I am mentioning open source. Okay, so now here I am creating a description array also. Now let's try to create your image array. So now here I am using some images, okay, for this image view. So now first I am add some image in your array, sorry, in your application. So now using this option, add file, means your image file. So now in your desktop, here I am using same image. Okay, so now you can see there are so many images are there. So now using your image, you have to use your image array. So now here I am creating image array in as a string format right now. So your image name as a your image element. Now a.png, b.png, c.png, d.png, e.png, f.png, and g.png. So now according to your array elements, so now actually there are the 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. So now make sure your image has been, again it's collection with the 7 different image. So now 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, otherwise your array has been written index of bound. So now your whole array are complete to implement. So now let's try to implement with a table view. So now your first method, it's a number of row in section. It means how many number of rows you want in your table view. So now according to your array, I am returning any array like that. So return your heading array dot count. Now then after I am implementing the second method, cell for row. So now this method is used to design your table cell. So now here you can see I am using a custom cell. It means I am designing a custom cell using this class. So now this is the custom cell class. So now according to this class UI table view cell, so now instead of this class I am using this class. It means table view cell, because UI table view cell class, it's a default table view class, but here I am implementing the custom table view. So now for the custom table view I am creating one class, it's a table view cell. So now whenever you use a custom cell, at that time you have to mention your custom cell class. So now let's try to create one object for your custom cell class. So now here this is my custom cell class. It means table view cell, because I am using this class, I am using this label and image on your table view. So now then after, whenever you use a table cell using custom cell class, so at that time you have to mention your cell identifier. Okay, so now how to use it? So now simply cell is equals to table view dot dequeue reusable cell with identifier. So now this cell is used to identify your custom cell. Okay, so now here you can see one argument identifier. It means, so now you have to pass here your custom cell identifier. Okay, here my identifier name is cell. So now you have to pass here as a cell. Now as a class of this cell is same table view cell. Okay, now then after you can access your table view cell class control. Okay, so now here you can see one error, because my cell object is created as a let. So now I am changing let to where. Okay, now let's try to use your custom cell control. So now here I am designing, there are three control: image view, label, and the second level for the description. So now you have to use using the cell object. So now cell dot your first label. So now label heading dot text equals to. So now on this label I want this heading array. Okay, so now here I am using your heading array, and then the index path dot row. Now for the second label I am using cell dot your second label description dot text. So now I want these array elements on this label, means label description. So now here I am using description array, and now it's a index path dot row. Okay, now I am using your third control is the image view. So now cell dot image cell. Okay, so now this is your custom cell image dot image. So now I want the wall image, okay, on this image view. But here you can see our image is implementing, means declaring with a string, but here your image cell is supported dot image. So now I am using UI image class. okay, and the method of UI image with name, and now write down your image array. Now index path dot row. So now here I'm converting your image array, means string, to image format, okay, and then finally you have to return your cell objects, okay. So now this is the ready for custom cell. So now here I am implementing, means I am designing one custom cell as per our current requirement. So now here I am designing total 3 control on your custom cell, okay. There are 2 label and 1 image view. Now let's try to see the output. So run your application. So now you can see the output. Your application is on the way, just hold it. So now I am using a custom cell, okay. So now you can see the output, okay. So now here I am creating custom cell, okay, using Tableview cell class, okay. So now here whenever you use a custom cell, so now custom cell you can use as per your requirement. It means you have to design a different functionality features as per your requirement. You have to also design your custom cell with a different controls as per your requirement. For example, here I am changing my cell background using, for example, I am using as a blacks, but here I am using the font color as a white, okay. So now let's again check the output, okay. So now this is the custom cell, okay. Now you can see this is your custom cell. So now you can see the output. Now then after I am implementing here only 2 method, okay, because it's a required method for the Tableview implementation. Then after you have to also use a different Tableview method as per your requirement. For example, here I am using did select row. It means whenever you select any row from the Tableview, that time this method will be called. For example, here I am implementing the simple print statement, okay. So now here whenever you select any row, so now including your array, so now your selected array element has been print on console parts, okay. So now here I am getting a simple array element according to your did select row method. So now here let's try to check this method is working or not. So now here I am using another method for the did select row. So now whenever you select any row, okay, so now you can see your console parts, okay. I am selecting the iOS. So now you can see your iOS has been printed, Android, Java, Python, okay. So now here you have to mention your code as per your requirement, okay. Now write down here whatever you want, okay, as per your application requirement. So now here I am designing the custom cell using different method. So now here you can see the actual difference between Tableview and Tableview cell. It means custom cell, okay. Now in previous session we have also discussed about the Tableview, but here in this session I am discussing a custom cell using a different method. Then after you have to also use a different table cell method here as per your requirement. So now this is the custom cell. Thank you.